Well, hello there. We're solving tactics again. So pause the video and try to solve it yourself. Okay, let's go. So what's going on here? Let's look for checks, captures, attacks. Where are the checks? There's many to choose from. Well, we can start from the left to the right. So queen h2, this is a check. What else? These two are checks, less likely. This is a check, this and this. So we have 4 checks, plenty to choose from. So queen c3, king d6. Can't see any follow-up checks. If here, king f4 is also available. Because if here, then queen b8, but he takes the bishop. So we're left with queen h2. King f6 is the only move. Queen d6 is a check. King f7 will have to be played. And then where are the checks? The bishop can now check. Bishop to e8, deflecting the king from the queen. So this should be winning. Let's go. Let's do all these moves and we can go on. So okay, pause the video, try to find the solution yourself. I'm sure you already see it. So checks, captures and attacks, the king is over here. This is a check, this and this. So the fork should immediately come to mind. After knight e2 he has to go king h1. And then I think importantly we shouldn't take the queen because he can take on f8. And he will have quite a lot of material for the queen. Importantly, after king g7, rook g8 check to protect the rook, and then he will take back on c3. So instead, after knight e2, I think we should take the rook and then take on c3. If he just takes back, we will, I guess, develop the bishop, and we will have what? We will have a queen for this is the hard part, counting the pieces. We will have a queen for a knight, I think, right? Yeah, a queen for a knight, which is a good deal. But a queen for a knight and a rook is not a good deal. So let's give this check. Let's take this and take the queen. Okay, next one. Pause the video again. Checks, captures, attacks. What have we got? Well, I can only see one check here. d6. If he takes, after e7, no one's stopping the pawn, which means he cannot take. So what can he do? So king f8, e8 or d8. f6 is not really possible because of e7. He always has this check, but it doesn't seem to do very much. Though it is interesting, though he doesn't really have a check when we check. So okay, d6. I think he has to go here or here. Well, f8 I guess as well. But okay, if f8, there's a check. He has to go to e8 to stop us from queening, but then d7 and we do the same thing. Which means after d6, f8 is out, e8, check, d7. Okay, what if d7? After king e7, we're not really promoting yet. And rook d3 would be a nice move to provoke king d8 and sacrifice the pawn, but it's not possible, sadly. Which means after d6, king e8, perhaps e7, threatening d7. Now after that, he can go rook d5. So d6, king e8, e7, rook d5 to stop d7. And that's not entirely clear. So what's going on here? So d6, king e8. So d7 doesn't seem to work. What about e7? Yeah, if e7, then rook d5. Which means after d6, king e8, we should probably take a look at d7 again, a little bit. We should look for more candidate moves, of course, but I don't really see any at that point. Rook e4, I guess rook d5. So okay, d6, king e8, then rook c4 maybe, with the threat of going where? Going d7, and after king e7, going rook d4 to threaten this. After king d8, e7. So this looks like a forcing continuation. Rook c4, also sometimes threatening to take the pawn and go here. So d6, king e8, rook c4, rook e4. What's he doing exactly? If rook d5, Well, rook d5 does make some sense. We can defend the pawn with tempo, I guess. Yeah, he has to go to e7. Though that doesn't look promising either. So what's going on here? d6, king to e8. d6, king e8. What are the candidate moves? I'm quite sure d6 should be the move, but it's not enough to be sure. d6, king e8. What are the candidate moves? So I mentioned rook e4. There's d7, there's e7. What's going on here? King e8. And also, by the way, if king d8, then e7 check. This wins easily because d7. So king e8 is the big issue. With the idea of going rook d5 next move. So what are the ideas here? We could of course go further. So d6, king e8, e7, then rook d5. We can go rook e6, defending the pawn. Black does have counterplay here. So let's say a4. We could go rook takes g6, threatening this check, then promoting with check again. I'm not sure black can do anything about that, because if d6, king e8, e7, rook d5, rook e6, he can't really do much, I guess, because a4, rook g6, if he sacks the rook, our rook is in time to stop the pawn, so yeah, this should be it. Now let's go here and let's go here. This is fine. Okay, next one. Checks, captures, and also attacks. So pause the video and try to figure it out yourself. And let's go. So the material is about equal. Already I sense some potential with this pawn. So checks, 0 checks. Okay, captures. Here. This isn't really a capture. Queen c3 would be nice if he took back with the queen. Then after all the captures, b2, we will win a rook by promoting. After this, he can recapture with the pawn. This is the big problem. So the idea is not there yet. Well, I mean, the move doesn't work yet, but it doesn't mean we have to discard the idea. Okay, so checks and captures don't really do much. Attacks, threats. Queen d3 attacks the queen. So what if he takes? We can take with the pawn to create a passed pawn and already threaten d2, after which d1 is unstoppable. So what's queen d3? What's white doing after queen d3? He, I guess, has to move the queen. It seems he can't really take it. I mean, he could try, but also after rook a1 or something, I'm also threatening to just take here. Two passed pawns, both squares are covered. So queen d3, what's he supposed to do? He has to move the queen here or here. He can't go to e2 because rook takes c3. This is a yo-yo tactic or whatever it's called, queen d3, rook d3, though pawn takes d3 also works. So queen d3, I sense these two moves only. If queen e1, I think this is quite simple. We will take rook takes c3. If he takes with the queen again, we get that position that I've mentioned. So queen d3, queen e1, rook takes c3. He should take with the pawn and then b2. Then next move b1, he will give up the rook. We will be a bishop up, so which means he has to go here, I guess. So after queen c1, I guess we have to calculate taking again. So rook takes c3, pawn takes, queen takes. Now we're threatening b2. He does have the move rook b7 to stop b2. I'm not sure we can make progress there. Here. What are we to do? So queen d3, queen c1. This is the most resistant line, so to say. What are we supposed to do about this? The problem is, of course, that we're not in time to push the pawn to b2. Okay, candidate moves after queen c1. Can't really see much. Some f4 pawn breaks, but it doesn't seem very effective after gf. So after queen c1, what else? Can't really see it. Okay, any more ideas? I think everything is connected to sacking on c3. For example, queen b4 stops rook b7. And this is a candidate move, so this is kind of a threat. I guess I'm kind of threatening to take here. Again, he can't take with the queen. He could take with the pawn. And then I guess I could play rook b, queen b6 or something, and then b2 is sort of unstoppable. For example, rook a1, b2, and b1. So this is a strange move, but seems to create a threat. So queen b4, what can he do? He can't really move the queen, I guess. If queen c1, I can take on c3, he takes back, and I can play b2. My queen is hanging, but his is as well. So this doesn't seem to work for him. So, and also, if he takes, I will promote to on b1 and take the other queen. So after queen b4, queen e1, I guess is a move. Yeah, queen e1 looks a bit annoying. I can't really see the continuation. What else? Queen f1. Does it have a threat? I'm kind of maybe threatening to take here, with the point that if he takes with the queen, I'll take here and somehow checkmate with the bishop and queen, perhaps. So queen f1, and if he takes the pawn again, b2. So what exactly is he doing after queen f1? He can't move the rook to a1. I guess he can go rook b7, right? I'm not really creating enough threats there. If I take now, he will take with the pawn. So somehow queen d3. It's not that obvious. It's not obvious how it's supposed to work. But I'm quite sure it's supposed to work. And so queen d3, queen c1. This is the problem. Queen d3, queen c1. Okay, this is quite a difficult one. Queen d3, queen c1. I can take, go queen e2. This is kind of a threat, but this is kind of abstract. I'm just trying to checkmate with an exchange down. It's not clear if it's checkmate or not. But queen d3, queen c1. I mean, either way, it's an improving move. I'm kind of improving the queen, but it's hard to say. What else? Queen d3, queen c1. It's kind of annoying that rook c3 is not just winning on the spot. It's very strange. Queen b4 again. What was the problem with this? I think it was queen e1. Alright. So queen d3. I'm actually looking at queen f1 somehow, because rook b7. I could, I guess, take, right? So if he takes with a pawn, maybe bishop d1, threatening bishop f3. If I get bishop f3, that is checkmate. So this is kind of a threat. So queen f1, rook b7, rook takes c3. I guess he has to take with the pawn, because if he takes with the queen, queen f2, he can't go here because of this. So rook b7 is my move, but I'm not sure rook b7 is the best move. But anyway, he can't do that. I'll take. If he takes with the pawn, I can't promote the pawn, but I can play bishop d1. I'm not entirely sure how he's trying to stop checkmate there. And this is kind of strange, but I think this is my best guess. Let's go. Nah, sadly not. So it is queen d3 after all, somehow. And after this, what's the big idea here? I'll take, and queen e2 specifically. I was looking at this, it didn't really see the point. Bishop d1. So this is kind of same as in the game, same as my answer. Ah, he has better moves than rook b7. I didn't see queen e2 at all. Alright, queen e2. So d5 I guess works. He has some threats of checkmate. Yeah, queen e2 I didn't see at all. Bad calculation. So there we go. Failed on a streak of 44. 2000 rated puzzle. Well, it does happen. See you next time with a continuation of this series.